Harry Potter is getting a remake at HBO Max for Warner Brothers. Let's talk about all the pros and cons about this news. Hello, Muggles. Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast. HBO Max has just announced that they're going to be remaking the Harry Potter franchise for television. And every book is going to get one season of TV on HBO Max. This is from Warner Brothers, obviously. And when I first heard the news, I was an angry old man. I was like grumpy, but I'm warming up to it. And because me and Anthony were talking about it in depth, and that's the whole point why we're doing this episode, is because, you know, Harry Potter is so near and dear to our hearts. It's our favorite franchise, basically. And we love those movies, and they're so well made and so well cast that, like, how could you ever capture that magic again? I mean, if you try to cast someone as Harry Potter, it's not really going to be Harry Potter because Daniel Radcliffe is Harry Potter forever. All those actors and actresses did such terrific jobs in those roles, so the casting thing is going to be a hurdle they'll have to overcome. But there are so many pros where they can address so many things in the books that aren't in the movies, as well as do things better in the show that are in the movies and books that they didn't do terrific in the films.
Yeah, when I first saw the news, I was like, God damn it! I was Michael Scott. No!
I was Oliver Harrison. Nope, definitely not.
But I think then I came to the realization that, you know, this was inevitable. It's a famous IP. It's Warner Brothers might be their most popular, their most valuable IP behind DC Comics. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that they're gonna redo it. Even the other actors in the past, have talked about, you know, if it gets made again, I'd like to play this person instead. Like I remember seeing a Radcliffe interview where he said he'd like to play Severus Snape when he gets older. So I warmed up to the idea that, you know, it's never going to get remade, and then in another 20 years to get remade again, and then in 20 years from that,
less than that,
it's
only been 11 years, 12 years, because
2012,
2011, Deathly Hallows Part 2 was 2011, so it's only been 12 years that they're already remaking. I think that's the one thing for me that it's too soon, it feels like. But also, like you said, it's inevitable. We can't control this. We just have to sit back and take it on the chin. Studios are going to studio. But, you know, I think we're going to try to find the silver lining here, and that's what this episode is going to be about, is talking about the pros and cons. And there are a lot of pros to the show as well as some cons.
Now, famously, I mean, obviously, a 2.5-hour movie or 2-hour movie can't fit a 700-page book into its plot. Most notably when J.K.'s books got to be very dense, starting with Goblet, Order, Half-Blood, and Deathly Hallows. Very long books. Order is the longest book. I think it's like 850, something like that. Almost 1,000 pages. So
not almost 1,000.
It's almost 1,000.
Not almost 1,000.
I mean, 850 is almost 1,000.
Is 8 almost 10?
Yeah. I mean, it's the way you look at it, bonehead. 8 is almost
like
10.
950 is almost 10.
Let's not. Jesus Christ. Anyways, it's impossible to fit all that story into one movie, so it does make sense that there could be a lot of benefits to making a series about this where you can have 8 to even 12 episodes per book, and you can really tackle a lot of things that the books couldn't fit in. And I do think that there are a lot of things that the movies kind of dropped the ball on. So we can get into both of those things and really talk about, start with the pros. Obviously, I'm not happy about it being made again, but I'll accept it and I'll try to enjoy it the best I can. So, but I do think that what they can't ever do is I don't think they can cast better. Obviously, not all the actors are age appropriate, especially the professors. Most of them should be in their 30s and 40s, but some of them are very old when they started the roles. And I think Severus Snape, obviously Alan Rickman was much older than his character he was playing, but he still fit the role perfectly. So I doubt that they'll ever be able to cast any of the characters better than they already did. So I think that's the biggest challenge that the production is going to face, is how do you cast not just the main trio, not just Dumbledore, but all of the characters? I mean, even going to Trelawney, going to Neville, all these Bellatrix. Like, how are you going to find an actor for each of these roles that can do better? Brendan Gleeson as Mad-Eye Moody. Like, they were all... I think the strength of the films more than anything else was the strength of the casting and how every character was really perfectly cast. I think that the production has a couple strengths going for them. Obviously, they've done it before, not necessarily the same team, but Warner Brothers has been down the path of making the Harry Potter movies, so they actually have some experience, obviously, if they're going to make longer form content out of what they've done with those films. Also, from a production standpoint, they have a lot of the sets that they can reuse. The castles are still there. I'm sure they've saved tons of wardrobe, tons of props, wands, robes, everything you can imagine. I'm sure they'll remake a lot of it, but I guarantee they have thousands and thousands of items that they can reuse from the films into the TV show. So they're probably going to save a little money versus like making a 7-season show of something that's never been done before. As well as, I think it'll be really important. I'm curious to see if David Heyman gets involved at all. I don't think there's been any reports of it at all yet because he was the main producer on the Harry Potter films. He's kind of the unspoken hero that is kind of behind the scenes, that he's just as important to the entire franchise as obviously the directors and writers, screenwriters, and obviously J.K. Rowling coming up with the stories and books. He's so integral to the films getting made and how good they are. Is he going to be involved in the show?
You could call him like the Kevin Feige of the Harry Potter universe. I'm not sure if he has any ownership rights or what exactly his licensee contract was, but as a producer, he purchased the rights for Harry Potter for Warner Brothers, and so they're all Heyday Productions. That's his company's name. So that's a good point. I wonder if he will be involved. My guess is if I'm running Warner Brothers, get David Heyman as the showrunner for the series if he wants to do it, because he did a phenomenal job adapting this incredibly dense and complicated story for the screen. Now, I was thinking, do you want to get into things that were missing from the films?
Or things that could have been done better first?
I'd say missing sounds more fun.
That has a lot more. How about we just do things that could have been done better, just to warm up to the stuff that's missing?
A little appetizer?
Yeah, a little appetizer. So let's talk about all the things that can be done better in the show versus the movie. So these are things that are in both the books and movies, but we think can get done better in the show. Starting off, I think most importantly, the number one thing that they could do better, Voldemort's backstory, getting all the Horcruxes as well as all the flashbacks and memories of Voldemort, of Tom Riddle in his youth, into adolescence, into adulthood, until he becomes Voldemort, until he's just disappeared for so long, coming back to Hogwarts, but also working at Borgin and Burke's, and then traveling around and trying to get every Horcrux he can. Just more backstory on Tom Riddle and Voldemort. I think that's such an integral thing they have to nail. It doesn't come until later in the series. Obviously, it would be season 6, but still, I think that's something that they have to hit the nail on the head, and they can do a lot better than the movies because it's very rushed in the films and something that always leaves me a little disappointed. But I understand they have to get through the movie fast.
Yeah, I mean, Half-Blood Prince already is a long film, and they only showed the flashback of him as a child with Dumbledore, which is...
And when he's in Hogwarts.
Yeah, in Hogwarts. So, wait.
With Slughorn.
Yes, I'm sorry. As a teen, yeah. So they really did show the plot important memories, like really important to Harry's story and Half-Blood Prince of what exactly he's doing. But there was so much missing from the film because I find that Tom Riddle's character and Voldemort's character in the movies, it was never fully realized, I would say, in its potential. And its creation by Rowling is, I think, one of the greatest antagonists ever put in a story. And the films kind of were an underwhelming representation of Voldemort. And so I think there's definitely so much more they can do with that character, given the screen time.
Even the stuff like with the Gaunts and Tom Riddle Sr., Marvolo Gaunt and his mother, and explaining about the love potion that her mother had Tom Riddle Sr. under, which made him fall in love with her until she stopped giving it to him. And obviously explaining, why Voldemort can never experience love is obviously because his mother hypnotized basically his father under a love potion, so he's born without love.
Yeah.
So it's really deep emotional connection that really informs the character of Voldemort and why he's so evil and why he can never love, and that's why he'll never be able to defeat Harry Potter, whose greatest weapon is love.
He's a wonderfully complex character, and they never really did him justice. That's my biggest problem with the films, was the Voldemort. He was never fully realized.
Rafe is so good as
amazing.
Voldemort that it hides all that.
Exactly.
It makes up for it
That's
because
true.
he's so good.
All right, next up, something they can do better is Quidditch for sure. There is a lot of Quidditch in the books that is not shown in the films. Also, the Quidditch World Cup was a major event in Goblet of Fire's book.
I would say Chamber of Secrets, especially the rivalry with Slytherin and Gryffindor, was something that I felt was really missing from Chamber of Secrets. And then there's a lot more Quidditch in Azkaban as well.
Yeah, we only got that one short Quidditch match in Azkaban where the Dementors come after Harry in the rainstorm and he falls. Arresto momentum! Sorry, it's about to get dorky as hell in here.
So it already is.
And even the Quidditch and Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber, those are the movies we probably get the most of it. And I would say it looks great for the time, but I think they can do a lot better today with technology, not only with the CGI today, but using the volume, I think will be very beneficial to sequences like Quidditch matches for them.
It'll really help with the story and keeping, if you have an episode that isn't really heavy on action, mostly backstory or investigation with the kids, you could have a great 10-minute Quidditch match that will bring in a lot of energy to a scene, an episode. Also, Half-Blood Prince has a lot of Quidditch. We'll get into that and what's from missing category, most notably with Ron. But the Quidditch World Cup also in Goblet of Fire was a much longer event than is shown in the film. We just get literally 30 seconds of it.
There's a lot in Goblet of Fire that's missing as well.
Yeah, and also the fandom of the Quidditch players.
And also, what's the house elf's name?
Which one?
Winky.
Winky. Oh yeah,
Winky, she's completely cut from the films.
Yeah.
Another thing they can do better in the show versus the movies, as well as is heavily missing in a lot of the series, is the invisibility cloak. We really only get to hang out the invisibility cloak here and there. It's in the first one probably the most, but then after that, it just crops up once in a while. Harry and the trio, they use the invisibility cloak quite often in the books, and it's just one of the funnest things about the series and about the gang when they're getting up to mischief and they're hiding under the invisibility cloak, going on these little missions in the middle of the night. I think they can take advantage of using the invisibility cloak a lot more often in the show.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the strengths of Sorcerer's Stone, and that effect still holds up to this day. It's one of those visual effects that still look perfect.
It's simple to do.
Yeah.
You don't even need any crazy technology.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely more invisibility cloak stuff. Also, something they can do better is Lily and Snape friendship when they were kids during flashbacks. Also, Snape learned that his father was a Muggle. Petunia was very jealous of Lily. This is actually something I put in the list for missing. But
I just meant, because their relationship, we see their friendship, but I think they could do a better job. But I just
for sure, yeah.
So it's there, but I think they can do better.
They can do better.
Because there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot more exposition.
So much exposition.
But staying on the invisibility cloak for a second, something that I hope they maintain for the show is using as much practical effects as possible. I think that's what brings so much magic, especially to the first couple films of Harry Potter, is the practical magic. I hope they try to use as much practical as possible when they can. Obviously, it's a TV show. They have a lot to film and a lot to shoot, lots of scenes. I'm sure if they're going to do 8 to 12 episodes per season, they haven't announced that yet. But I think if they can maintain as much practical effects as possible, it'll really make this special.
I would say Deathly Hallows, too much CGI.
Especially
sure.
Battle of Hogwarts.
Way too much CGI.
I mean, how else are you going to do it?
I know, yeah, true, but it's too much for my taste. That's how I would say they, what's his name, the director?
What is his name? Oh, it's going to come to me.
David Yates.
David Yates.
He definitely likes to rely on CGI, because even with Order, his first film, in Half-Blood, he likes to rely on CGI too often, I think.
All right. Something else that they can do better in the show. Dumbledore's death. Now, this is always another scene that I still love, and I love the movie so much. Half-Blood Prince is top 2 for me. And the death of Dumbledore happens pretty differently in the book because Dumbledore Petrificus Totalis is Harry underneath the floor, underneath the invisibility cloak, so he can't move. So it's kind of out of character for Harry not to fight back and help defend Dumbledore in the movie, because that's what Harry would do. You couldn't stop Harry from fighting back and helping to protect Dumbledore. That's why Dumbledore has to Petrificus Totalis him and put the invisibility cloak on him, because he knows Harry would come and help try to defend him and come to his aid. So that's something that I think could be done better in the show, as well as Snaping underneath the floorboards. But other than that, they did a great job, but maybe a little more emphasis on the disarming by Draco of Dumbledore as well. But I think just I think that's a big character moment for Harry Potter that's wrong in the movies, that he's just hiding out there because Dumbledore told him to. Harry would not hide.
It's a change that I found made no sense at all because it's not like they were saving time. It's not like they couldn't fit it in. It would have taken the exact amount of story time as Dumbledore telling him to go under. It could have just been Petrificus Totalis, and then when Wingardium Leviosa, the invisibility cloak over him, 10 seconds tops. So it didn't make any sense for me to have Harry stay up. But I think they just, I don't know, maybe they just
I
found
think
it
there's
easier
two
to
reasons.
shoot.
It's easier to shoot, but also it brings false trust to Harry with Snape. Because Harry's trusting Snape and he sees Snape, he's like, oh, don't move, I got this, don't worry. But then Snape kills Dumbledore, but Harry would go up there and attack Snape.
That's great, because Harry will die trying to save the people he loves.
Exactly,
So Dumbledore knew that, and that's why he Petrificus Totalis
Petrificus Totalis.
him. So I mean, when I saw that film, there's a lot missing and a lot that can be changed in the third act of that film, of that story.
Oh yeah, tons.
So much.
But still a great fucking movie.
Yeah, but also, so another big improvement that they can make is in Goblet of Fire, the maze in the Triwizard Tournament. In the film, it's just a maze that can come to life and grab them, but in the books, there's lots of trials and things they encounter along the maze. Most notably, my favorite part was the Sphinx and its riddle that they just didn't even throw into the film at all. In the film, I found the maze very disappointing.
Yeah, it's just got tentacles and vines, and then Victor Crumb's in there and ferrying people. I mean, Imperioing people because he's under the Imperio as well, or he's just attacking people. So it was underwhelming because when they get in the maze, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
The first time I saw
I
the
remember,
movie,
yeah.
it was
yeah.
still cool, still exciting, but
Yeah.
it could be done a lot better.
I was like, okay, the Sphinx is coming now. Okay, well, now they'll do the Sphinx. Oh, no, now the Sphinx. It just never happened.
The trophy's already there. Like, what, this is a really easy maze.
Yeah, it was just like, I've done mazes like
Just
this.
avoid Victor Crumb. Something else that can be done a little better. The CGI in the first film, we've always talked about, and everyone knows it's not superb because it was pretty rushed. It got better in the second film. I think Dobby's CGI in the second film was really groundbreaking at the time.
Basilisk was great, too.
Yeah, well, a lot of the Basilisk was also
Yeah.
practical effects, so I hope they do a lot of practical effects as well. But I'm sure they're going to probably do as much CGI as they can afford, I'm sure. And I hope that the CGI, they stay true to how high quality it is today. Obviously, it's a TV series. You have a limited budget. It's not like you're making a movie and you have a quicker time frame. But I still think that the CGI can be done better because the technology is so advanced since then, and especially the motion capture. So I'm really excited to see things like Dobby, to see what they come up with for his character design, and the mocap I'm sure will look great. But I really do think that they have potential to, if they have terrific CGI, this can be very special combined with practical effects.
I read an interview with Chris Columbus saying that he was very unhappy with the CGI in the first film because they rushed it. They had the release date, and Warner Brothers were like, basically just put out what you have ready,
And it wasn't there yet.
Yeah, Columbus said the CGI wasn't finished. I think the troll has not aged well at all. That's probably the worst CGI in the film.
Some of the Quidditch doesn't look
the Quidditch hasn't aged well.
But I still love it.
But yeah, it did improve in Chamber because they were given more time to work on the visual effects.
Also, the bricks moving.
The bricks are terrible.
Yeah.
It looks like a video game, honestly.
When they enter Diagon Alley.
It looks like a video game. But
I mean, it's 2001.
It's still, I mean, yeah.
When I saw it as a kid, I was like, holy crap, the bricks are moving.
Yeah, but I mean, the Matrix came out in 1999.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Next up, I would say, yeah, they can improve Draco's character a lot. Obviously, he has his best amount of screen time and storyline and plot in Half-Blood Prince, but I think there's a lot that they left to be desired for Draco in the first 5 films. And I think in order is my least favorite Draco because they kind of turned him into a laugh at him kind of character. You know what I mean? A caricature of himself.
Yeah, more of a straight up goofy bully.
Yeah.
He kind of disappears after Chamber from, obviously he's not a main part of the books either, but he's still consistently in a lot of sequences and a lot of scenes with Harry and the trio. So I think they can do a better job of getting Draco in there more often after Chamber of Secrets and before Half-Blood Prince.
Because they did a great job in Sorcerer's Stone going to detention in the Forbidden Forest with them. So there are more sequences like that in the other books where he is actually pretty involved in some scenes.
Because he's a main character in Half-Blood Prince, and once he's in the movie, you're like, oh man, I forgot how great Draco Malfoy is as a character, and he really kills it in that movie, in that book.
Yeah.
So he's awesome. Do you want to talk about the Dursleys real quick, like one part? Because I have 2 things to say about them. One, it's not in the book, and the other thing is something they can do better.
What are they?
So the Dursleys overall, I think they do a good job with the Dursleys for the most part. I know in which one of them is it that the actors asked for more money, so they just cut them from the opening. I think they opened up.
Is it Half-Blood?
Half-Blood Prince, yeah.
It's Half-Blood.
There's an opening of the Dursleys in the book and Half-Blood Prince, but not in this. So I think consistently always having the Dursleys in the first episode is something that they should do in the show, as well as I would love to. This factors into later with things that are missing, but since we're talking about it, Mr. Weasley destroying their living room
accidentally
in Goblet of Fire because he's using the Flu network and their fireplace is blocked. He's like, "There's something in the way," and he blasts it and destroys the living room. So there's a lot of funny sequences with the Dursleys, as well as Fred and George leave that candy for Dursley to find, and it gives him, it like makes his tongue super long.
Dudley?
Yeah, Dudley. I mean Dudley. So they give him they leave it out there for Dudley to find, and obviously Dudley's gonna eat it.
And isn't it they're going through a heat wave in Order or something?
Order thinks there's a heat wave,
yeah.
And then there's, I think in the second or third film, Dudley's becoming so obese that the whole family's eating only grapefruits. But Harry's told his friends and everyone to send him cakes, so he's like eating cakes in his bedroom. Like he's got a floorboard full of desserts and treats from
my God, it's so true.
Because,
I forgot about that.
So they're all eating like half a grapefruit. So Dudley's suffering, and then Harry's like, "This grapefruit is so filling."
Yes.
Goes up and has some cake. So little things like that, I can think they can sprinkle in.
That's a great point, because in the books, whenever you bought a new book, you'd be like, okay, what's the Dursley opening of the story? And in the films, that became less important. Obviously, second half of the films, the last four films, they put much less emphasis on the Dursleys. But for Harry, every year during the summer, it's his life is at the Dursleys. So
Exactly.
I think I totally agree. They can do a much better portrayal of the Dursleys, although the actors were phenomenal.
Oh, great, yeah.
There's a lot more that they could have done, for sure.
Also, Deathly Hallows Part 1, the Dursleys leaving Privet Drive, was so rushed, so underwhelming. I did not feel anything watching it, because in the book, it's actually really important. Dudley does some really sweet gestures.
Doesn't he leave something outside his room?
He leaves a cup of tea, and Harry spills it when he opens his door. He's like, "Oh, another prank by Dudley. He left this cup of tea here," but then he realizes, oh wait, he left that cup of tea for me to have when I woke up. So Dudley's starting to realize that he actually he's important to me. So
he doesn't want Harry to leave.
Yeah, he's confused. He's like, wait, why isn't he coming with us? Yeah. He's staying here. He's like, but why? So I think that getting that emotional connection finally between Dudley and Harry and Deathly Hallows was so important. But again, they have to rush it. But I was underwhelmed by the way the Dudleys left in Deathly Hallows Part 1, the movie.
Absolutely agree. That's a great point. And I mean, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of them in the show. We have to, especially in the first episode of every season should be heavy Dursleys.
I can't wait to see who they cast in those roles.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I'm really excited to see. Obviously everyone else, but I think the Dudleys and Dursleys would be super fun.
Absolutely. So another con I have to the films is that after Chamber of Secrets, Hagrid is a very minor character. He's showing up here and there. It is quite disappointing, because he's such a piece of the heart of the story, especially the connection to Harry being the first person of magic that he ever meets. So they have a lot of potential. Obviously, Hagrid's going to be tough shoes to fill, but a lot of potential to throw more Hagrid into the story from season 1 to season 8.
Yeah, I would say Azkaban's kind of missing, sort of, and then...
I would have liked to see him go to Azkaban and Chamber.
Yeah.
That's something they can show.
Yeah, because it's not in the books, but that would be lit.
Yeah.
Also, that'd be cool to see more of Azkaban in general. Let's see, he comes into play later on in Goblet of Fire. He's got a decent role, for sure, in the movies.
With the dragons, for sure. And then Order... also courting the... What is she, Russian headmistress? Yeah. French headmistress. Yeah.
And then Order of the Phoenix, I feel like he's not really in... Oh, he's with the Giants.
Yeah.
So...
The Giant storyline.
He's here and there, but I feel like they could add more Hagrid in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot more in the book. The kids going to visit Hagrid here and there, that would be so fun.
Absolutely.
Because they often go to see him and have tea and rock cakes.
Rock cakes that break your teeth if you chew on them.
This one, I have one that's listed as background on more characters. It's actually probably better if we put it on later.
Yeah, I have them on that list.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So how about Harry versus Voldemort at Hogwarts? I love the Battle of Hogwarts. It's great. How do you do this epic battle? I think they did a really great job, but the fight between Harry and Voldemort is kind of odd and underwhelming at times. Like Voldemort has him in ropes,
strapped,
just Avada Kedavra him, he's right there.
Instead, he has to grab his face and keep talking to him.
Let's finish this together.
The way we started, Tom.
And they, like it's all
and then
this,
they apparate, fly across the ground.
they fall. It's cool, but like it's a trailer shot. They made that just for the trailer. When you watch the trailer, like Harry being lifted into ropes and binded, that's part of the trailer. I think that's why we've discussed in depth why that shot's in there. And I think that's it. But I feel like the battle could have been a lot more authentic to the book, as well as the final showdown should have been in the Great Hall, surrounded by everyone, versus in the courtyard where there's not a person and just crumbled, destroyed rock and rubble of Hogwarts Castle. Put that fight, the final sequence, the final battle, in front of every witch and wizard there.
But also the taunting of Harry of Voldemort, taunting him and revealing all of the knowledge that Voldemort is shocked that Harry knows about. Everything about the Horcruxes, everything about Voldemort's past as Tom Riddle. It is one of my favorite parts of the entire book series of Harry just fucking going to town on him. It's great, and it's just, and also for everybody to witness Voldemort's death. You need to. They needed that. They need to see him die. He's caused so much death and destruction, and nobody sees Harry defeat Voldemort. Does he just walk in and be like? So another part of the movie is like he just walks into Hogwarts and everyone's like getting fixed up or like recovering. And does he know? Does anyone know he killed Voldemort?
They just all believe him.
They're just like, but does he even say anything? He just walks in and everybody's like, I guess the battle's over. It's like, did you do it, Harry? Is he dead?
Yeah.
He's dead.
Oh yeah, totally dead. Totally dead. Totally dead.
I found that to be it was an underwhelming conclusion.
Then
battle.
some new dark wizard named Voldemort comes up. He's got a mustache.
Mustache and glasses.
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. I swear I killed him.
Another thing they can really improve on is Ginny Weasley, who is kind of just like unlikable in the films for most part. She kind of lacks personality. She's in the book. She's very brave. She's an excellent fighter. She's very smart, and she's
Super
very funny,
charming,
too.
yeah.
She's very funny as well. She has some of that Weasley goofball charm that into her character.
She's the coolest kid in class.
Yeah, she is. She's like a popular kid. And she's always dating like guys. Guys are like going crazy for her.
Yeah,
It's
true. Yeah.
I'm not saying like she's like promiscuous, but like the guys love her. All the guys have a crush on her. You know what I mean? So she is like
Even Harry, he just can't admit it until like he's like something inside my heart. It's just a beast. It just wants to tear Dean apart.
So, and nothing against the actress, she's great, but I think that she was written as kind of flat and bland and lacking personality.
In the relationship between her and Harry, it's just glossed over so much. There's actually a lot more because they're finishing up the school year, dating each other. And then eventually when Harry's going to go on his quest for the Horcruxes, that's when he breaks up with her, basically.
At the funeral. Yeah.
Yeah, so, or is it the beginning of Deathly Hallows? I can't remember. I think it's the beginning of Deathly Hallows in the book.
I think he breaks up with her at the end of Half-Blood Prince after Dumbledore's buried.
Well, either way, we have the rest of the term there together.
No, yeah, because then when he's at the Weasley's house prepping for the wedding and staying there, it's awkward between them.
Yeah, and they finish up their their final exams and everything. They're like spending time by the Black Lake and everything like that. So more of the relationship aspect as well as making it feel authentic. Like I think the room for requirement scene when they're hiding the book of the Half-Blood Prince, it's like the weirdest kiss. Like close your eyes. The music is terrific. But that scene I'm always just like kind of cringe.
It's pretty bad.
So I think the romances can be done a lot better, but not just between Harry and Ginny, but also another thing they could do better, I think, is the character of Cho Chang. She has a lot more to do in the books, as well as she kind of gets done dirty because she's not the one that reveals the truth of Dumbledore's army to Dolores Umbridge under Veritaserum. It's her friend that does it. So I think if you have the friend do that, but also a little more Cho Chang in terms of it included in Goblet of Fire, as well as her Quidditch skills, as well as the relationship that Harry and Cho Chang have, which is a very awkward relationship. He's not a good romancer or dater at this point, and like
it's terrible.
They
had a date at the Hogshead, right?
Hogsmeade, and he's like he didn't tell her that he was also going to meet Hermione Granger there, so he's like terrible at dating.
Yeah.
And Cho Chang gets jealous of Hermione, like, oh, you're going to see another girl while we're here. So I think they did Cho Chang dirty in the movies because she has a lot more to do,
and also the grief she feels about
Cedric
Diggory's death. So
Batman's death.
He's trying to court her while she's grieving the death of her boyfriend. So it's a complicated courtship, but they really don't do a good job fleshing it out in the films.
It's like Chaz in Wedding Crashers. Funerals, man. Girls are so horny there, man. Grief is the ultimate aphrodisiac. Will Ferrell wedding crashers.
Oh my God, Chaz. Something else, I mean, we just touched on is Dumbledore's funeral. Harry and Ginny sit next to each other during the funeral, and she holds his hand. It's a great part of the book at the end of Half-Blood Prince, and they don't even have the funeral. They just showcase his tomb that Voldemort breaks into at the end of the film. And they didn't show the funeral at all, but he got buried on Hogwarts grounds.
But not just Ginny and Harry, but like everyone shows up.
Even the mermaids.
The Minister of Magic is there. Yeah, the mer people are there, not mermaids, Anthony. It's mer people.
Sorry.
This is Wizarding World. Jeez Louise. Doesn't even remember. Cedric's name thinks there are mermaids.
There's mermaids in it.
Mer
in the
people.
world.
Yeah.
No, but in the world there are mermaids.
Yeah, it's true. I'll give you that. They're mer people. But like, it's a huge event. People come from all over the Wizarding World. So this is something that I think they really should focus on in the show, being a concluding chapter and part of probably the final episode in season 6.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's something they definitely kind of dropped the ball on. It was a fitting farewell. It was very tragic, but the funeral, I really love that part of the book.
Another thing I think they can do a little better job.
Another one.
The castings obviously are tremendous in the movies, especially so we're talking about the generation of Harry's parents. Now, Sirius Black, Lupin,
Snape.
Snape, they're all perfectly
Pettigrew,
cast. Like, these actors are the best in the world. That's why they're all cast. However, they are kind of old for their roles because when Harry's parents die, when they're killed, they're only 21 years old. That means Sirius, Snape, Lupin, they're all in their 30s, early to mid-30s, starting off the franchise.
They're our age.
Yeah, but then they're in their 40s, the actors, some of them in their 50s when they started acting in the movies. So obviously they wanted the best actors alive, which they had to do. It worked so well. But I think for the show, they can cast these characters with younger actors and actresses for sure, and I think it'll work better for the show going forward for if they're going to do 7 full seasons.
And also, Harry's parents, they're always older actors.
Always like 50!
They should be like 21 years old.
Should be age appropriate.
Yes, because in when he looks at the Mirror of Erised in Sorcerer's Stone, his parents, they obviously did it to not confuse kids, because it would have thrown kids off if like the parents looked like they were still young. Because to me, a 21-year-old still looks like a kid, honestly. Most of the time, they just look so young. And so, book accurate, Harry's parents should look very young because they had him when they were very young. So, but I think they did it to not confuse kids, to be like, these are his parents. They look middle-aged, but that's not book accurate.
At least I think they should just, I know they'll probably go a little older still. They're not going to cast 21-year-olds, but I think young-looking 30-something-year-olds, like young-looking adults, because they would be young. And ghosts don't age and spirits don't age. That's why I really can't stand and scream Billy Loomis's ghost, because
he's getting older.
He's getting older. Like, I know the CGI, he looks young, but like, do spirits age? I thought, I don't get it.
I think that the show will open with James and Lily with baby Harry. A couple of sequences to get the audience up to speed with how old they were when they died.
Everyone's up to speed.
I'm talking about new audiences, bro.
Really? You want to open up with their death?
I would guess that they're going to open with the death. Yeah, with Voldemort attacking them, but it'll be like 5 to 10 minutes of James and Lily as parents.
That would be a bold opening.
And they might even maybe Sirius will visit for a sequence here and there. And then Voldemort will attack them.
Huh.
That's how I would do it.
Now that you say that out loud, that's actually a cool idea. Maybe even get Peter Pettigrew in there.
I would say,
like, leaving their house.
Yeah, I would establish the Marauders, and they're at the age of 21, 22, and then it could be Harry's birthday.
And
birthday.
Maybe all of them. Well, Sirius shows up for his birthday. Yeah.
So it would be Harry's first birthday, opening presents, and then the Marauders leave. Lily and James, they put Harry to bed. Barry to bed.
Go to sleep, Barry.
And then Voldemort shows up and attacks them. That's how I would do the opening.
Because then you could show Sirius.
You establish them.
You could show Sirius, Lupin, and Peter Pettigrew there all together. You could show the characterizations of, like, Peter's probably very nervous, and then he maybe leaves early, and Sirius leaves on his bike, and Lupin. That'd actually be pretty cool.
That's what I would do.
That's actually pretty. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to do something different.
HBO Max, hit us up,
bro. We'll help write.
That's
the
what
scripts.
I would do. Then you establish those actors, and then you accept the younger audiences who don't know the films or books. They'll when they see Harry's parents as ghosts, they'll understand why they're so young.
The one thing for that, though, is they'd have to cast actors for this that would only be in one scene and they wouldn't show up for 3 years, 2 years. So would actors want to even do that scheduling-wise? I'm sure they would.
Yeah,
but that would be
the Harry Potter
That'd be the one
series.
thing.
Yeah.
They'd have to nail actors and then get their schedules
Nail them hard.
get their schedules in for like the next 5 years.
I think an up-and-coming actor will be happy to accept the role of Sirius Black.
You're gonna act for one day.
Wait, you're gonna give me the role of Sirius Black, but I can't act for 3 years? Fuck this. No way, I'm not being Sirius Black. Good luck, HBO Max.
Just say that's something they'd have to do. Just something that you have from a production standpoint.
Good luck, HBO Max.
Harry Potter.
I'm not gonna be Sirius Black.
Never heard of it.
Something else that, speaking of Harry, give him green eyes, so maybe they can cast an actor with green eyes, or they can CGI it.
Or contacts.
Contacts, yeah.
Because Daniel Radcliffe, they try to do the contact lenses. He's one of the rare percentage of people that their eyes cannot stand contact lenses. So
I hate him.
So that's why they had to change that for the movies. Obviously, Daniel Radcliffe's terrific and perfectly cast, but that's something that I think they can really do is green eyes for Harry.
Also, the hair.
The hair
Harry's
should be messy.
hair should be a fucking mess the whole time. He can't control it. It has a mind of its own. His hair should be all over the place.
That's a great sequence they can do in Sorcerer's Stone where Petunia's like always trying to cut his hair, but he keeps growing it. Like the whole first episode should just be Harry at the Dursleys.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Everything in there, nothing else.
So the first episode will end probably with the letter arriving.
Maybe, yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
But his hair is uncontrollable, untamable, and absolute. It's just a mess the whole time. So obviously they make it neater for the films. It just looks better. But if you want to be accurate to Harry, his hair needs to be a fucking mess.
Yeah. Something else that they can do a better job of is I love Mad-Eye Moody so much, but I think there's a little more that they could add in for the character, not just in Goblet of Fire, but going forward in other episodes and other seasons and parts of the stories.
Like as a leader within the Order.
Yeah, in the Order of Phoenix, but also Goblet of Fire, there's quite a bit left out. But not to mention just Mad-Eye Moody, but in general, something that we missed real quick, something they can do a better job of is the classes and lessons. Every movie, there's like a couple lessons here and there, but now that you're going to do a TV show, I think they can really take advantage of spending time in classrooms, which I think are such great parts of the books and like the things that happen in the lessons. But I think more time with the professors is something that can really benefit the show.
I think that something missing from the movies was a lack of connection with the professors, especially the long-standing ones that are teaching for the entire course of the story. I think McGonagall shows up here and there, but you could really have so many more scenes with McGonagall as a professor, but also as the head of Gryffindor House. So I think there's a lot of potential to really get more professors in the show.
Especially potions class. There are a lot of potion classes in the book, and Snape is so horrible to Harry and Ron and all of them. So, like, more of Snape being a horrible person, I think, in potions class.
And Flitwick,
and to Neville.
Flitwick has, like, one scene in the movies.
Yeah.
That's it. Like
Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah, that's it.
And then the choir.
But he's the charms professor, so he does a lot of teaching in the books, you know?
So I think taking advantage of more professors and more classes and lessons would be awesome.
The route that the films took was they would focus on like one kind of class per film. Like it would be Trelawney for Azkaban, and then potions in the first film. Well, they did all the classes in the first film.
Potions and Half-Blood Prince.
Half-Blood Prince. Yeah, I'm so
like more defense against the dark arts outside of Prisoner of Azkaban would be great.
Exactly. So, and then I think that being able to do all the classes, the curriculum, is something that is a big upside for the series.
I think
the
so
whole
too.
curriculum. And even taking more exams, because the exams at the end of the year...
Exams?
The exams. Ron hates exams.
Anthony said that with a cigarette in his hand.
Also, more of Ron asking Hermione to do his homework.
Yeah. Can I copy it? Just a couple inches. 18 inches of parchment, an essay, 18-inch essay.
And he'll try to write his letters large, and then Hermione's are always so small because she writes so much. It's great.
All right, let's do. What else do we have for this?
For improvements,
blah, blah, blah. Oh, Dumbledore's aggressive reaction to finding out that Harry's name is in the Goblet of Fire. Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
Dumbledore calmly asks Harry, did you put it in the Goblet of Fire?
This is a directing thing, all right? So everyone blames Michael Gambon for this, but that's him being directed.
Yeah, Mike Newell he's in charge of what's going on,
But I think that's a funny thing that people are upset about still. I think it's hilarious.
More Dobby, more credit for
Dobby.
him. Dobby. Sorry, Dobby.
This one's important, I think. more credit for Dobby because he does a lot of things in the books that Neville gets credit for. The gillyweed in Goblet of Fire, in the Triwizard Tournament. In the movies, Neville gives it to him because Mad-Eye Moody gives him that herbology book, but Dobby's the one who gives Harry Potter the gillyweed. Also, in the movies, Neville gets credit for discovering the Room of Requirements. Dobby's the one that suggests it to Harry when they're trying to find a place for Dumbledore's army.
So they erased him.
Dobby erased.
They replaced him with Neville.
I get it. They want more Neville in there, but Dobby's the one who did that stuff, man.
He is. He's a cool dude.
He's a really sweet guy.
He's a great guy.
Really big, cute ears.
Harry not using Expelliarmus enough. It's his bread and butter, and it's an identifier of Death Eaters, especially when they all take Polyjuice Potion to turn into Harry. The way the Death Eaters find him is because he often likes to use Expelliarmus too much.
Expelliarmus! Lupin says, it's become your bread and butter. Half-Blood Prince, the burning of the burrow.
Oh, my God.
Pisses me off every time I watch it. I love Half-Blood Prince, but whenever the scene starts, sometimes I skip it.
What are we going to do about this fire?
Especially when Ginny ties Harry's shoes. Like, what is your shoelaces undone? Who wrote that?
Great chemistry, guys. I love this budding romance.
Hey, let me tie your shoelace for you. Okay.
Oh, did they have a 7-year-old write the script? This is like a 7-year-old how they would do a courtship.
Cloves wrote this script, but like, who came up with that idea? How about Ginny ties Harry's shoe? Perfect. Genius romance. Awkward, but it's palpable.
It's because they're teens.
But the burning of the burrow does not happen in the books. I understand because they eliminated the Battle of Hogwarts in Half-Blood Prince. In the Astronomy Tower, that they want to add more action. Don't love this scene at all.
What's the wolf guy's name?
Fenrir Greyback.
There's more Greyback in the books that they could have thrown in the films.
A lot more, not just of him visually, but also people talking about Fenrir Greyback.
He's like he likes to turn into a werewolf near children because he likes to feed on children.
He likes to turn people, too.
It's a terrible, terrible character. Great
villain.
Just
just axe the burrow and put in the Battle of Hogwarts, please.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I think they were like, we need more action halfway through the film. It's like, dude, it's a Harry Potter movie. Everybody's going to show up. Doesn't matter. And then
Percy Weasley is a character that can be done better. He's in the first film, but he kind of just is hardly ever there, especially when he starts working at the Ministry of Magic and he's working with his father at the Ministry, and he doesn't even talk to his father anymore because he's trying to get power. He's working for Cornelius Fudge.
He gets on Fudge's side against the family.
And so he starts to turn on the family and start to be part of the government's authority, especially when they're starting to get infiltrated by the Dark Wizards and by Voldemort. He's part of that.
He's happy to push propaganda.
System. He's part of the system. And then not showing his redemption in Deathly Hallows. When he comes back, he apologizes and he makes up with everybody, and then fights alongside them all.
I wrote Percy being a twat. He's
exactly.
He's a twat for most of the books.
More twat.
Yeah. Everybody hates him. Also, Harry and the Elder Wand is something that they kind of
pissed me off.
Yeah. So in the book, he actually uses the Elder Wand to repair his broken wand, and then he breaks the Elder Wand.
No, he doesn't break the Elder Wand.
He doesn't break it?
So he repairs his wand and then puts Dumbledore's wand in his grave.
Oh, that's right.
So he returns the wand back to Dumbledore to rest forever with his body. But then you can't just snap the fucking Elder Wand in half. It's a Deathly Hallow.
I would say
you can't just break that thing.
I would say it could be. I would say it's probably unbreakable.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
By hand.
Yeah.
Like
you would probably need an extremely powerful wizard with a crazy spell to break that thing realistically.
Exactly. They couldn't even open up the Horcruxes without fucking crazy spells. So I think that's something that always irked me, was Harry just snapping the Elder Wand and throwing it into the river. I'm like the Black Lake. I'm like, what the? I love the movies, but that's just so inaccurate. Yeah, and pisses me off.
I understand why they did it though.
But also, he has to repair his wand.
I don't like in the film he didn't repair his wand.
He's just gonna use Draco's wand forever.
Yeah.
I understand.
Doesn't he say like this one suits like I'm warming up to this one or something like that?
Well, the allegiance shifts to him obviously, but it's not his wand.
Yeah, Harry's wand.
He needs that phoenix feather to be Harry.
Also, yeah, Draco's wand is black, and I feel like I don't know, it suits a Malfoy, that kind of wand,
or like a Slytherin,
yeah,
Dark Wizard.
Slytherin, yeah. I don't know. I think brown suits the color for Gryffindor, a Gryffindor person.
I don't care about the color. I'm just talking about the wand. It's not his wand. I think he has to repair his wand, and he has to bury the other one with Dumbledore. It has to happen.
Good point.
Two other little things I think they can do better. I think Kreacher is a character that they can do a little better. Obviously, he's in there in Deathly Hallows 1 and 2, but also showing how he's kind of becoming part of the family as well versus just being such a negative Nancy. Even though he always is a negative Nancy, but he starts to warm up to the characters.
Yeah, he starts doing things for them. When they're staying at Grimmauld Place, he starts, like, serving them.
Especially Hermione and Ron.
Also, I'm guessing if I was making the show, I would show Sirius Black flashbacks in the Black household. And then you get
that'd be cool.
Then you get Regulus. You get
for Half-Blood Prince in Deathly Hallows?
Yeah, so then you get Regulus and Sirius as kids. I would actually hint at Regulus earlier. I would say that when Sirius and Harry become close and begin their bonding, I would start showing flashbacks of Sirius's backstory so that we can get a hint of the locket, we can get a hint of his brother, Regulus, and showcase how the challenge of that household and how Regulus became a Death Eater, but then maybe betrayed them. So there's a lot of potential to really show more of the Black family history. You can even get a flashback of Bellatrix as a evil teen. So I think there's a lot of potential to do more story that the movies and even the books didn't really show in great detail.
You could do a whole episode on that.
Yeah.
Because that's what I love about The Last of Us. I always bring up is they show things that you can only imagine in the game that happens and they show in the show. So I actually enjoy that.
So there's a lot of potential. The Black household is a fascinating story.
And just one final thing. I'm sure there are many other things that you can bring up if you're listening, but we have on our list is the relationship between Fleur Delacour with Bill, but also Fleur Delacour and Mrs. Weasley, because they do not get along at all, especially after Bill gets bit by Fenrir Greyback, because Mrs. Weasley is probably insecure that Fleur is going to abandon Bill, so they butt heads consistently until they really just like have a great moment of connection and they bond and then they become family basically immediately.
Yeah.
And she accepts, Mrs. Weasley accepts Fleur as a daughter, basically.
Yeah, before the wedding, yeah.
So I think that's something a little more Fleur Delacour because she has a lot more to do in the books.
They butt heads the whole time. Yeah.
But yeah, more Mrs. Weasley. I think Mrs. Weasley is such a great character.
She is an absolute
And she
delight.
She's so funny in the books.
This episode is sponsored by our friends at movieposters.com, the #1 place to get your posters online today. Head on over to movieposters.com and use our promo code Raiders10 to get 10% off your order today. Our set and house is decked out with so many of these amazing posters, high quality prints, the best you can get for your money. They have all sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your poster needs. So if you need to get a movie poster for either yourself or the movie fan in your life, head on over to movieposters.com and use our promo code Raiders10 to get 10% off your order today.
How about we get into
things missing from the films?
Yes.
This is just like, not that they can improve, but they just did not even put in the films at all. So I would say, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but we didn't talk about this yet. Voldemort's look. So Ralph Fiennes, I think, was a perfect Voldemort, and they did a very good job portraying the look of Voldemort. However, he is much more monstrous in the novel. He has red eyes. He has slits for eyes. They used Ralph Fiennes' natural blue eyes for the character. Obviously, they got the pale chalk white skin correct, but I think the cat-like slits for pupils is something that can be really menacing. He's also got a skeletally thin body, but his hands and his fingers are like unnaturally long. Like they're super long fingers, and they're like monstrous. Also, I think they had his very long nails, sharp nails.
They got that in the movies.
Okay, but I feel like they still just use Ralph Fiennes' hands. But
he's got long fingers.
Yeah, but in the books, like there's a couple of images of him, and his fingers are massive. They're so long. So
Anthony wants the hot dog length fingers from everything everywhere all at once.
Got to get the hot dog fingers, and I think that's something they can really improve upon by making Voldemort the true monstrosity in person.
I think it was the great decision for the movies to keep his human eyes because it adds an eerie, even more kind of horror quality to the character that he's still a human, but like he's this monster. But I think it would be really cool to give him the red eyes for the show. I think why not?
In the slits. That'd
be pretty epic. It might be too difficult for production wise to do it too quickly, but we'll see. I think it'd be fun. It'd be super fun, guys.
And also, just on top of that, in Philosopher's Stone, I believe that his face looks like that in the back of Quirrell's head.
I can't remember.
And
the
they
description in the
did a
books.
human face in the movie, but I believe it is the snake-like face with the slits for nostrils. Yeah, it absolutely is the snake-like figure of a face, and instead of just a human face.
Yeah. All right. Another really important thing that they left out were the challenges in Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone when they're going for the stone underneath Fluffy. There's a really great sequence in the books of Snape's challenge that is just completely glossed over in the films. I think, there are time constraints. You got to get this going. And it's a riddle.
It's one of my favorite challenges, though.
But it's a great challenge.
Yeah.
But it's a riddle that Hermione figures out, and it's just logic. So that's something I think they can definitely add.
Yeah, Snape made a bunch of potions on a table. One allows the person to go onwards. One allows
Through the fire.
One allows a person to go through the purple flames, which will send them back to Hogwarts, which Hermione ends up using so that she can find help for Ron. And then one of them's poison, and a couple of them are nothing, I think.
Something like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
something like that.
So I think that would be really
But
cool.
it has nothing to do with knowledge of potions. It's all just a mind riddle that she solves pretty quickly.
And that's the only challenge that's not in the
Correct, yeah.
movies, right?
Yeah, it's the only one. Next up, we talked a little bit earlier, Tom Riddle's backstory. His backstory as a young adult, not a young adult, but as an adult, is completely just skipped over. Nothing about him investigating Horcruxes, and then also trying to find valuable items that he will use as Horcruxes. There's some really incredible flashbacks that we learn about when Harry and Dumbledore go into the memories. So there is so much potential for Tom Riddle's formation into Voldemort.
The next thing that they can add from the books into the show that they didn't do in the movies are connected from the Order of the Phoenix and the Half-Blood Prince, and they both have to do with Dumbledore's army. I think they can do Dumbledore's army a lot better. There's a lot more sequences with Harry teaching the spells, as well as something very important that comes into play in the Half-Blood Prince with the Battle of Hogwarts, which they have to add in, especially, I think, is the secret galleons that they use to communicate when they are letting each other know when the next meeting is for Dumbledore's army, which get used in the Half-Blood Prince, as well as by Draco Malfoy. He grabs a hold of those coins as well. But the Battle of Hogwarts has to take place in Half-Blood Prince in the Astronomy Tower when the Death Eaters come in and they battle all of Dumbledore's
It's
army.
all-out war.
And the Order of the Phoenix are all fighting together.
And Harry gives his friends a sip of Felix Felicis, which is why they all survive the battle.
Because he saved some of it after he still had some left over from
Yeah.
Slughorn, getting the memory. But also just having Dumbledore's army fighting with the Order of the Phoenix against Death Eaters in Hogwarts Castle has to be done. This is also where Bill gets bit by Fenrir Greyback, but they can't skip it this time. They have to absolutely have this.
100%.
It should be an entire episode.
Next up, the Sorting Hat sings a song before every sorting ceremony, and the hat writes it itself. And Ron even makes like a funny comment in the book when they go into Dumbledore's office and they see the Sorting Hat on the shelf, and he's like, man, all he does all year is like something like along the lines of he spends all year coming up with the lyrics for the next song.
He's like, it's a miserable life. He just sits there all by himself and comes up with the lyrics
Yeah.
for the next song.
Yeah, so the Sorting Hat actually always sings a song, and it's always different.
So you want a sorting ceremony every episode, every season?
The song.
At least
I want the song.
At least the song.
Yeah, at least for the first season, the song.
Something fun here is, girls' dormitories. So if boys try to go into the girls' dormitories in houses, they turn into a slide. The stairs just turn into a slide and they fall down. They actually do it in Hogwarts Legacy. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, do they?
Yeah.
No way. I should try that.
It's like, you're not allowed in here.
Like you try to walk up them and then
yeah, you just see a random set of stairs and it just turns into a ramp.
Also, the dorms actually the common room actually does something.
Yeah. Shots at the game.
Next up, helping Norbert escape in Sorcerer's Stone was a great plot.
That they didn't do in the
At
movies
all,
because
yeah.
this is where Harry and Hermione help Ron's brother Charlie come and get Norbert from the roof of Hogwarts.
To take him to Romania.
Yeah, to take him to I think Romania with Charlie. But they coordinate this whole thing with Charlie via letters, and then they get onto the roof. But they also get caught and get into trouble here. I remember they do get into trouble because they get caught. I think they're seen by Draco.
Yeah.
Because Draco's on their tail when he sees Norbert at Hagrid's hut, and then he follows them basically during this whole thing. And I believe this is how they all get detention.
Gets caught for detention.
Yeah, this is how they get detention.
All right, so there's a big thing that I didn't like about Half-Blood Prince regarding, and Deathly Hallows regarding Rowena Ravenclaw's diadem. So Harry actually encounters the diadem tiara in Half-Blood Prince in the book when he is going to hide the potions book in the room of requirement. He's looking for a place, something to help him, like a landmark for him to, if he wants to go back to the potions book, he'll be able to find it. And so he finds this random tiara, and he's like, okay, I'll use this as a landmark, so if I need to get this potions book back, I'll put it I'll put it right there, so I know the potions book is right here in the room of requirement. In the movie, Ginny hides the book for him and then kisses
Close your
it.
eyes.
So dumb. I hate it. I hate it. But so this is actually how in Deathly Hallows he's able to find the diadem, because he realizes, I know that diadem. I used it to help hide the potions book in last year. Now in the movie, the way they get around this is when he's moving through the room of requirement, he starts hearing the Horcrux whispering to him. That's what helps him lock on to and find the diadem. It's okay. It's an okay replacement, but for me, what's the point? And I remember watching Half-Blood Prince being like, oh my God, he's going to grab the diadem and doesn't know what it is, and then it never happened. So I found that to be very disappointing in Half-Blood Prince.
I concur. Something else that they can add, or they should add into the show from the books that's not in the movies, is some really important sequences at 12 Grimmauld Place in Order of the Phoenix when they're there, right? And then also Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
So they're all staying there and they're cleaning out 12 Grimmauld Place because Sirius has left this to Dumbledore.
Mrs. Weasley told him to clean.
Yeah, so they're cleaning the whole place out because it's just filled with cobwebs as well as magic stuff here and there, boggarts and closets, whatnot. But there's this particular drawer in a desk up on like the second floor that's shaking, and Molly couldn't get it open immediately, and she wanted to wait for Mad Eye Moody to come and take care of it. And she's even like, hey, Mad Eye, could you take care of, I think there's a boggart on that top shelf. He like uses his eyeball. He's like, oh yeah, I see it, Molly, I'll take care of it. And then they never take care of it. And they think it's a boggart, but it's actually the locket. And they do get it open, and it's just this locket in there. So they actually do encounter the locket that then
the trio do.
The trio find the locket, but they don't think anything of it because Creature then gets it, and then it's stolen by what's his name?
What's his name? I can't remember.
But
they do. The three of them each take turns trying to open it.
Yeah,
and they can't open it.
They can't open it, but they actually find the locket.
Yeah,
and then that's where Dolores Umbridge buys it off. What's his goddamn name? He's in Deathly Hallows 1 and 2, and he's the one he's one of the impersonated Harrys. He's one of the Polyjuice Potion Harrys in the opening, but he's just like a little thief.
Mundungus Fletcher.
Mundungus. But Mundungus steals it from Grimmauld Place, from Creature.
He nicks it. Yeah.
Nicks it from Creature's cubby.
And then he sells it to Dolores Umbridge.
He's forced to sell it at a super low price. So the locket, I think, if they can get that in earlier as kind of like a little Easter egg to going forward, but it's important and it's part of the books.
Yeah. Another major thing that comes into play in Half-Blood Prince that shows up earlier in the books is the cabinets. So the Vanishing Cabinets are obviously what Draco uses to get the Death Eaters into Hogwarts in Half-Blood Prince, but we actually encounter the cabinets multiple times in the books. So first in Chamber of Secrets, Harry is in Borgin and Burke's, and then he sees the Malfoys coming in, so he hides inside one of the cabinets. So he actually hides inside one of the Vanishing Cabinets, not knowing it's a Vanishing Cabinet. He's just chilling in there while the Malfoys go in the shop. And then also, the twins actually shoved a Slytherin boy, Montague, into a Vanishing Cabinet at Hogwarts. That cabinet was faulty, trapping Montague between Hogwarts and Borgin and Burke's. This was in Half-Blood Prince. Now, after escaping, Montague recounted the story to Draco about how he was trapped in between the cabinets. This gave Draco the idea of this could be basically a portal system to bring Death Eaters into Hogwarts if I repair the cabinet. Now, the cabinet was broken because of Harry. So in Chamber of Secrets, Harry was in trouble with Filch. In order to distract the caretaker, helping him out, Nearly Headless Nick persuaded Peeves the Poltergeist to drop this cabinet right above the office. That cabinet was the Vanishing Cabinet, which is why it was broken, which is why Montague was stuck in between them.
Excellent point, Anthony.
Crazy.
Speaking of Peeves the Poltergeist, completely erased from the movies, has to be in the show. You have to have Peeves in there. He's such a fun character, a fun part of Hogwarts. Please put Peeves in it. Peeves in the game is super funny.
A big one that is never talked about in the films is that Neville Longbottom was a possible other chosen one. Now, the prophecy Trelawney spoke of said the one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches. She also said that the person will be born the seventh month dies, this person will be born, and the parents of this person thrice defied Voldemort. Those attributes also apply to Neville Longbottom, who was born at the same point of the month, and his parents defied Voldemort 3 times. So Voldemort was given the option, go to either the Longbottom household or the Potter household, and he chose the Potter household, causing him to try to kill Harry, which backfired on him, marking him as his equal. But it could have been, possibly, Neville Longbottom.
Great points. Now, something that is really important to Hermione in Harry Potter that is never done in the movies, but is heavily involved in a lot of the books about halfway through, is Spew, the Society for the Promotion of Elvish Welfare. Now, this happens and Hermione forms this organization in Goblet of Fire after she witnesses the mistreatment of Winky, the minister's house elf. And so then she starts to fight for elf rights, especially around Hogwarts. She does these things like she makes all these hats and socks and leaves them out for the house elves to find when they're cleaning up to try to free them all. But they end up finding it all very offensive. And Dobby's the one who collects all these hats and socks. And one time he shows up to Harry's wearing like 10 hats. He's like, he finds these hats everywhere. And all the other elves hate it. So I think just more of the house elves, especially their presence at Hogwarts, but Spew, the organization that Hermione's forming, making her friends donate to the cause to help fight for elf rights. But this is just a great precursor to Hermione's future as the Minister of Magic and how she gets involved in politics and helping people and helping other organizations.
Yeah, I mean, she's like an obvious choice for becoming a Minister of Magic. I think that was one of the best ending stories for a character, her and Harry becoming an Auror.
And if they do like a prologue of their lives later on with Hermione,
an epilogue?
Yeah, or an epilogue later on of them where they're at in their lives, with Harry being an Auror, Hermione being Minister of Magic, Ron being just like a stay-at-home dad. Just kidding. He works in the Auror's office too. Just kidding. But because she implemented the Spew stuff into the Ministry of Magic as well.
It's not going to be an epilogue. It's going to be season 9, bro. It's going to be season 8, bro.
That'd be pretty interesting.
Like, why not if the actors want to do it? Also...
I'm sorry, it's Barty Crouch's house elf, not the Minister of Magic.
Yes, it was the Crouch house elf, yeah. I was going to say... I'm sorry, that reminded me of something, the Spew thing, but I can't remember now. Also, oh no, okay, I got it. She also forced Ron to join Spew. She forced Ron and Harry to join Spew, but also their kiss did not happen in the Chamber of Secrets. Hermione and Ron. It happens I think outside the outside of Gryffindor common room, maybe. I can't remember exactly, but the reason why Hermione kisses Ron, it's because he says, we got to do something to save the elves. And she's so overtaken with love for him for saying that, then she grabs him and kisses him.
Oh, yeah, it's in the Battle of Hogwarts, right?
Right during the battle. He's like, we gotta save the elves. And she's like, oh my God, I love you, Ron Weasley. And then she kisses him. That's how the kiss happens. That's how, I'm not sure where they are, but that's how Hermione kisses Ron.
Gotcha. I think they might be in the Chamber of Secrets when that happens.
It's not in the chamber, no.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not in the chamber.
Oh, so it's after they come
in front of Harry.
Yeah.
Harry's right there.
Yeah, you're right. Guys, can we not do this right now?
Yeah.
Some more stuff. Goblet of Fire. Even though they could have done 2 movies out of this because there's so much in there, but Barty Crouch and Barty Crouch Jr. is something that they could have had more emphasis on, just more information about everything that's going on. But I think that would just be an interesting storyline that they can address more, as well as I don't love the opening of Goblet of Fire with the
Vision?
No, not the Vision. The killing of the Muggle, the old guy.
Yeah, it's the vision that Harry has, right?
Well, yeah, but it's real.
Yeah.
It's also real.
Yeah.
I think they could have done a better job with that opening.
Yeah, I suppose so. But also how Barty Crouch Jr. escaped Azkaban is never really explained. So in the book, Barty Crouch Sr., he actually smuggled his son out of Azkaban prison at his dying mother's request. She then took his place in Azkaban prison, and the Dementors are blind, so they just knew that there was a person there, but they didn't realize it was no longer Barty Crouch Jr.
And
So-
there was a very weak being, so they
Exactly.
assumed it was him.
Exactly, because he had been there for so long. So upon his escape, Barty Sr. placed the junior under an imperious curse to keep him under control, which lasted years. And then Barty Crouch Jr. he managed to fight it off, the curse, and snuck into the Quidditch World Cup using an invisibility cloak. And then this is where he caused the mayhem, called the Death Eaters to the Quidditch World Cup, which started the entire riot.
Stole Harry's wand.
And then he's cast the skull and cross, the whatever dark mark into the sky. So that's how he got to the Quidditch World Cup.
Also, they could definitely show how Sirius escaped Azkaban as well.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't explain in the movies. They explain in the books how he did it. He did it because he was just sitting there in prison, whatever. I'm going to die here. I'm here forever. There's nothing I can do about it. I got framed by Pettigrew. But one day, the Minister of Magic comes to Azkaban, and even though Sirius was still there, he was still affected a lot less than the other prisoners, and this is something that Cornelius Fudge noticed. And when he was walking past him, Sirius asked him for the newspaper. Hey, are you done with that newspaper? Can I read it? And then Fudge gives him the newspaper to read. And what's on the front page of the Daily Prophet? It is the Weasleys in Egypt, and on Ron's shoulder is a rat with one finger missing. And Sirius knows that rat because it's Peter Pettigrew, and that's what motivates Sirius to escape Azkaban, because he realizes that Peter Pettigrew is still alive.
Great plot that could be so fun to see.
Yeah, just like a couple of minutes.
That's a great missing plot line.
Just do a flashback when they're in the Shrieking Shack of that.
Oh yeah, there's so many flashbacks they can do for Azkaban. It's with all the black characters for sure. Next up, Tom Riddle is the cause for the defense against the dark arts curse. So the professor post, nobody can last more than 1 year as the defense against the dark arts professor. This is because Tom Riddle, after graduating, he wanted the post. He asked Dumbledore for it. Dumbledore refused him, knowing that this dude was fucked up in the head. And then since that day, no professor, the post as professor has been cursed.
Yeah, this is something they can do in a flashback for
Yeah.
the memories. This is a memory of Dumbledore's when they're looking through the pensieve of Voldemort. He's become more grotesque and more snake-looking versus his very handsome self, what he used to look like. He's meeting with Dumbledore for the position, but he really went there to hide something in the castle, and which was the diadem in the Room of Requirements.
Which he thought only he knew of.
And so he gets turned down, but that's really all. He wanted to be there, but really it was just to hide something. But also at the same time, I think he wanted to talk to Dumbledore one more time.
Absolutely.
But it's a great scene that they have to have.
It's
in
such a
because
great scene.
It's a great dialogue.
Yeah, to have the adult Tom Riddle pre-Voldemort speaking with Dumbledore, it's really fascinating.
He's like becoming Voldemort, but also to show how Dumbledore does not fear him at all. And, he calls him Tom. He calls him Tom.
He
instead
knows
of Voldemort.
he knows that people have been calling him Voldemort, this new name. That's a great
Calls
point.
him Tom. Some more flashbacks, I think, showing Petunia and Lily in their childhood and growing up with Snape, obviously, but also how Petunia was insanely jealous of Lily. That's why she hates her sister so much, and that's why she hates Harry so much, is out of insane jealousy that she was not a witch as well. And she asked Dumbledore if she could come to Hogwarts in letters, and she has some sort of rapport with Dumbledore that she has kept hidden from her family.
Yeah, and Dumbledore politely replied that she can't attend Hogwarts, and that's really what fueled her hatred for all wizarding kind. So it's interesting to know that Petunia actually exchanged letters with Dumbledore, something that she never told Harry. Also, a big misstep with the films is the two-way mirror is never explained. And then in Deathly Hallows Part 1, we cut to Harry in his room, and he's just looking at a broken mirror, and there's an eye in it. Everyone's like, and I'm sure everyone who didn't read the books was like, what the fuck is this mirror with someone's face in it? So Sirius Black gave him one part of the mirror so that they could communicate. This happened in Half-Blood Prince. This is a way they communicated during the books. And then after Sirius's death, Aberforth took the mirror, and then that's how Aberforth got the mirror, why he has it, and that explains what the fucking mirror is in the first place. So they never put it in the books. I'm guessing because they didn't know how important it was and how big of a part it was going to play, because it ends up being how Dobby shows up at Malfoy Manor, is because Harry tells the face in the mirror, "We're at Malfoy Manor, send help." Aberforth sends Dobby there.
And the way that Sirius's mirror breaks is, I believe it's after Sirius's death, and Harry's just full of anger, and he's throwing things into his trunk for packing, and I believe he breaks the mirror. So it's a great irony that this great connection that they once had, where they could see each other through these mirrors and communicate, has now been shattered.
Yeah, and that's why it's like a shard of glass instead of a full...
That's a great point. They never bring that up at all.
Never.
She's just got this mirror that's...
It's just Deathly Hallows Part 1. He's in his room on his bed, and he's in his chest. He takes out the mirror. It's like, what is this?
Next up, we have Peter Pettigrew's death, which is really important, and it's a great connection to how Harry saves his life in Prisoner of Azkaban, because obviously in the Shrieking Shack, Lupin and Sirius are about to kill Peter Pettigrew, but Harry spares him because my dad wouldn't want his best mates to become murderers. So he's like, we'll give him to the Dementors, go through trial and everything. He'll be processed by the law, by the Ministry of Magic. Of course, Peter Pettigrew escapes, but in the books, Dumbledore hints that, saving someone's life like that magically connects you forever. And I wouldn't be surprised if Peter Pettigrew doesn't regret that moment at some point in the future, because that's when later on in the Malfoy Manor, at Malfoy Manor in their basement, when they're trapped in there, Peter Pettigrew with his new silver glowing hand comes down there. He ends up
because they're trying to escape, right?
They're trying to escape. Yeah. And Peter Pettigrew goes to attack Harry, but instead his hand turns on him and starts to choke himself, and so his hand ends up killing him.
Yeah.
So because Harry spared his life, this magical connection of basically karma or repayments was owed to Harry and happened and led to Peter Pettigrew's death.
Love it. It's so great. Another really cool thing that's never shown in the film is that the English Prime Minister actually knows about the Wizarding World. So every time a new Prime Minister is elected in the UK, they are visited by the Minister of Magic, who tells them, hey, there's a whole world of wizards living underneath your noses. You don't know anything about it, but sometimes shit happens. We'll keep you posted. So the Minister of Magic will visit the Prime Minister every once in a while when there's emergencies or important things to inform them of. Fudge has visited this British Prime Minister to warn him about Sirius Black, a mass murderer who's on the loose, and then also eventually warns him about Voldemort. And it's a great opening scene for Half-Blood Prince. It's one of my favorite scenes in all of the books. And it shows that there is a connection between the Wizarding World and the Muggle world in the highest order in terms of the leaders of each country communicating with one another. And I love how the Prime Minister views the Minister of Magic as like always bringing bad news and being really weird and dressed strangely. And he comes out of the fireplace.
I love how in the book, he's like in his office. He's like that painting is moving again. He's like, I thought this was all fake. I thought that I hallucinated that. He's like a new prime minister, so he's like, the guy before me told me about this. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then the minister comes. He's like, this isn't real. This can't be real. Mm-hmm. And also Kingsley Shacklebolt is also his bodyguard.
That's right.
Head of security. Yeah. So getting that in there as well. But also speaking of the Muggle world, I think that would be great to show, the world around Vernon Dursley as he's like going to work. That like the first chapter where Vernon Dursley like is going to work and he sees all these odd people in robes and cloaks and they keep celebrating and cheering and saying this name, and he swore he heard Harry's name. He swore he heard Harry. Or James Potter, and he heard Harry Potter's name. He's like, wait, what was that name? Did I hear Harry Potter or something like that? Or like, what was Harry's father's name? Was it James? Because like he heard that name, but seeing all these people in robes and cloaks around celebrating in oddly dressed attire, I think that would be fun.
That's a great sequence. That's true. I love that one. That would be a lot of fun to see. Next up, we have another important one. Snape, obviously, is the Half-Blood Prince, but the reason why he took that pseudonym is because his father was a Muggle. I mean, was of Muggle descent. I'm sorry. His father was a wizard, but was of Muggle descent. And then his mother's maiden name was Prince. So that's why he called himself the Half-Blood Prince when he was in school.
That also reminds me, they never talk about in the movies how Voldemort he's a mudblood. I mean, he's a half-blood.
Yeah.
Voldemort's father was a Muggle. They never really talk about that.
I was gonna put it on the list, but he does say my filthy Muggle father to Harry.
Okay,
in the cemetery.
You're right.
But it's true. It's something that they never really addressed in a meaningful way. How the irony of the character of someone who wants to only proliferate pure bloods being a half-blood himself. The irony of the character. He's such an ironic character.
Ariana Dumbledore's backstory and what happened to her is something that they can definitely address, obviously, in Season 7 with Deathly Hallows, with the Dumbledore's book written by Rita Skeeter, The Life and Lies of Dumbledore, of Albus Dumbledore, going out and seeing what happened that night between Dumbledore and Aberforth and Ariana and how she got afflicted and eventually died.
Yeah, and Ariana, many people presume that she was never able to. She never had magical powers, and what ended up happening was she was using her magic when she was young, but then she was attacked by a group of Muggle boys, and then that's what caused her to really never be able to use or control her magic ever again.
And their father, Percival, killing those boys and going to Azkaban.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think that's all a bunch of stuff that they can add in the show for sure.
Oh, for sure. Another one that's pretty minor, but I really enjoyed in the books that they didn't put in the film was that the Marauders map was actually created by the Marauders. It's not like I think in the movies, if you don't know the story, you might assume that they took the name Marauders because maybe they found the map that said Marauders map, but they actually created the Marauders map.
I think they explain it because Lupin says, like, they say who they are, and they all know who they are, and it's like...
Well, no, I'm saying it kind of implies that they found a map and took the name from the map for their group.
I never got that when I watched the films. I thought they explained it pretty well that they were the creators of the Marauders map.
I don't think they explained it at all, that they were the creators, is what I'm saying.
Well, it says Mrs. Mooney...
Yeah.
Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs.
I guess so,
present the Marauders map.
I suppose so. Yeah,
I think they do. I think it's fine.
You're
but
right.
also, it'd be cool to see how they do it. There's actually is an explanation, but also
more flashbacks
to show how powerful of wizards they are. Not Peter Pettigrew, obviously. He's kind of just like he's a powerful
He's
wizard,
okay,
but he's a runt compared to the other three. Especially Sirius and James were the top wizards of their class. So I think to show how intelligent and powerful they are to be able to create that map, because it took a lot of magic as well as becoming an Animagi, which is also incredibly hard to do.
Because even Severus Snape can't reveal its secrets. Reveal your secrets.
Basically, it's created by there's a quill at Hogwarts that writes down every child who's born as a wizard or witch, and their name gets logged. And so basically they use that quill
they hack into it.
They hack into the quill to use to find all the wizards and witches at Hogwarts and locate them on the map. So it's actually really cool magic.
There's some ghost stuff that we don't get to see in the films, really.
Yeah!
Nearly Headless Nick's 500th death day, which he begs Harry to come to, and then Harry reluctantly goes, and he's at the ghost party. Fun little chapter. And then also... Nearly Headless Nick has a whole storyline of like his desire to join the Headless Hunt, and it's hard for him to get in because he's not actually headless. He's nearly headless.
And there's that other ghost who's like the top dog.
Yeah, the cool.
He
ghost,
won't let him in. He like bullies Nearly Headless Nick.
Yeah.
All right. This is one that always irked me. So in Order of the Phoenix, and obviously in Half-Blood Prince, Hermione and Ron are prefects. They become prefects in Order of the Phoenix because Dumbledore thinks it's best to distance Harry from everybody because he doesn't want there to be a reason for Voldemort to penetrate his mind and to take control of him. So if he distances Harry from not only himself, as well as from Hermione and Ron, he'll be less likely, he thinks, to dive into Harry's mind.
And that's why Ron's so surprised that he was picked, because it's not like you don't like to apply to be a prefect. It comes in the mail with so they get the prefect badges in the mail at the Weasley house. So
and then he gets bullied by Fred and George.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, he didn't want to be a prefect. Also, Ron has a pretty cool Quidditch backstory in Half-Blood Prince, where at first he has no confidence. All the Slytherins are making fun of him. They jokingly say that Weasley is our king, and that's like a joke, a running gag the Slytherins do. They make signs and badges for it, and they wear it around school during normal school hours. They just wear Weasley is our king badges, like making fun of him constantly, but then he slowly gets his confidence back and becomes a pretty good Quidditch player.
Yeah, he's pretty solid when he's got his confidence, and Harry does the trick with the Felix Felicis. But also, I believe in Order of the Phoenix, Ron fills in as keeper towards the end of the season, and then so he actually plays for the team in one of the previous book, in one of the other books. He plays Quidditch for Gryffindor because I think something happens to the keeper.
I can't remember. You
Pretty
might be right.
Pretty sure. But yeah, just more Quidditch in general, more Ron's Quidditch.
Also, more Lupin and Tonks. Their relationship, it's kind of glossed over and just a little bit here and there. But they have a complicated relationship, and the actors are great, but we never really got the chemistry of them being a couple.
Yeah, they kind of just forced it. But also, Tonks is the one who finds Harry under the invisibility cloak on the Hogwarts Express and
brings him. Yeah, you're right.
She's the one who finds him because they have auras all over Hogwarts. Everyone's keeping an eye on Harry, and she sees that Harry does not get off the train. So it's not, what's her name? Luna, who finds Harry with the Nargles in his brain, with the Nargle glasses. Nargles! Your head's full of them. It's Tonks who discovers Harry on the train.
Good point.
Enjoy your ride back to London.
Speaking of Lupin, there's a great scene in Deathly Hallows where Lupin shows up at Grimmauld Place and asking the trio to join them on their journey of whatever Dumbledore set them out to do, because he doesn't know exactly what they're doing. He abandoned Tonks and their newborn son, and Harry goes off on him because of Lupin abandoning his son, and it calls him like a coward and a terrible father, and they have a terrible fight, and then Lupin storms out, and Harry feels really bad about it, but then when he reunites with Lupin later in the book, Lupin thanks him for getting him to come to his senses as a father.
Putting his priorities in order.
Yeah, so I think it was a really great scene because of the connection the two had for so long, and to have that big fight, it was very emotional.
St. Mungo's Hospital is often talked about part of the books. In Order of the Phoenix, the trio go to St. Mungo's. They actually see Gilderoy Lockhart there, who still has no memory of who he was. They say I was a teacher, but because they're visiting Arthur Weasley after he's been attacked by the snake. So they're all going to see him, but they also see Neville and Neville Longbottom's parents.
Grandparents. His grandmother.
No, his parents.
No, they speak to his grandmother.
But
are his parents there?
His parents are there.
Oh.
So maybe, I don't know if do they see Neville there? But Neville's parents are there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where they learn, Harry already knew that his parents were in St. Mungo's because they've been driven insane from the Crucio curse from Bellatrix Lestrange. But this was, I think, important, more characterization for Neville seeing his parents at St. Mungo's. I believe they see Neville there, but Harry doesn't tell them why, maybe? I can't remember.
But it is Neville's grandmother who tells them the story about his parents.
But Harry knew it already.
Yeah, so the grandmother reveals the story to them.
Yes.
Is what happens.
That Harry had been told by Dumbledore.
Yeah. Also, another fun little thing that's fun, but this is a fun one, is that we learned that Filch is actually a squib.
That's fun.
And we learned that what squibs are. Harry obviously didn't know what a squib was, but it's also kind of tragic for Filch, and now you understand why he's always such a pain in the ass and always angry, because a squib, as we all know, is a person who is born without magical powers from magical parents. And so it's kind of like an embarrassment in the culture, and probably like the most embarrassing thing a person can be in wizarding society.
It's like a lower class.
Yeah, exactly.
Of wizard.
It's very sad.
And he even has that book that Harry sees. It's like the Magic for Dummies or something like that.
That's right.
Poor Mr. Filch.
A fun one that I love in Deathly Hallows is the gnomes at the Weasleys' house, getting ready for the wedding, and Harry's tasked with getting rid of all the gnomes in the yard. It's really funny.
An important part of the Weasley twins, Fred and George, and their business, Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes, whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
Is Harry funds it. So after Harry wins the Triwizard Tournament, which he doesn't want to win, and he's forced to just take the money, he doesn't want anything to do with the money and the winnings, which is quite a bit of galleons.
So I think it's 100,000 galleons, I think.
I don't know if it's that much.
I think it might be.
It's like 10,000 galleons.
Maybe.
100,000 is a lot. And he doesn't want the gold. He doesn't want the prize because of Cedric's death. He doesn't want like the blood money, basically. So he gives it to Fred and George to start their business, because something they can do in the books, in the show as well, is all of the experimentation that the twins are doing with their products for their joke shop going forward, and obviously getting the funding from Harry, like having that in there, and how he keeps it from Mrs. Weasley, because if Mrs. Weasley found out, she would kill Harry. But no, she never would. She loves Harry. But also just in general, more Fred and George, all of their mischief, all their jokes, all their silliness, I think it needs.
1,000 galleons. 1,000.
Yeah,
which sounds more manageable.
100,000 galleons is a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot. I don't know what I was thinking. All
Maniac.
right. Speaking of Weasleys, another good one is the ghoul in the attic. In Deathly Hallows, the way they get away is that they disguise the ghoul as Harry.
No, it's Ron.
I'm sorry, they disguise the ghoul as Ron so that when Death Eaters show up questioning, asking why Ron isn't at school, they dressed him as Ron, gave him the hair and everything so that they think that the ghoul is actually a sick Ron.
Yeah.
It's a great gag. I love it.
What else do we have? More defenses against Muggles seeing and stumbling upon wizarding castles or homes or cities or villages. Muggles, once these charms and protecting spells are cast upon like Hogwarts or even like Hogsmeade or something like that, it deters Muggles from going in because they'll see signs that say like danger, keep out, or they won't even see it at all. So like more explanation of like Muggles, how they cannot interfere with the wizarding world just because of magic.
Yeah, and so for Hogwarts and specifically, if a Muggle walked up to Hogwarts Castle, they instead would see just plain countryside with ruins, so the ruins of a castle, in a sign saying, danger, do not enter, unsafe. But also another one that they talk about.
Unsubscribed from
Unsubscribed.
magic.
Another one that I love is that Platform 9 3/4 was actually a platform built by Muggles, and then Wizards basically stole it, enchanted it, and made it disappear from the sight of Muggles. And then all the people that like built the train station, they're like, "Are we missing something?" They're like, they could never put their finger on something being gone, and it's because the Wizards basically took the platform that the Muggles built and used it for themselves.
Something else that I would really love to see is Godric's Hollow.
Oh yeah.
When they go back, when Hermione and Harry go to Godric's Hollow to find a clue, to find anything.
A clue.
They find Harry's destroyed home, and not only is it just destroyed, it's been destructed from the Avada Kedavra backfiring curse, and there's just a giant hole in it. But also, so many people have written signs and messages to Harry saying how much they love him and how they're rooting for him and fighting for him. And I think that would be a really special moment for Harry to see.
I would have loved to see that in the movie. Yeah, that's a great moment.
But there's so many things. I mean,
So many.
I'm sure y'all
We covered a lot.
That's quite a bit, but I'm sure y'all can think of so many things as well. But I think that, initially I didn't want this, but after talking about it, especially after doing this episode, I'm excited to see it. I'll definitely watch it. And I think they did a great job with Last of Us, and if they stay true to the lore, to the canon, and just write a great story. J.K. Rowling's involved with the show. She's not going to be the showrunner, but I'm sure she'll be involved in the plots, in the scripts, in producing. And if they get David Heyman to produce this show, man, it would be stellar. So I really think there's a lot of potential to make a great show that showcases many of the things that we love about the books that aren't in the movies, as well as some things in the movies, just seeing it again or different ways. And I think there's a lot of potential here. And like we said, there's nothing we can do about it. The remakes are going to happen. The studio's just going to remake everything, reboot everything every 10 years, even though it's only been 12 years. We just gotta sit back and enjoy it for what it is. And it won't ever capture the magic that the films brought. It'll never do that. In the castings, it won't be the same. But we love Harry Potter so much. It would have been cool to go to do Hogwarts Legacy as a show or the Marauders as a show. But I think this is probably the easier route.
And my hope for the show is that they stick to the books, because there is so much, we just barely scratched the surface of what they didn't use in the films. And I hope they don't add too much new stuff, too many new things written by the new writers for the show. I just really hope they take the text and pull from that, because there's more than enough to make all the shows and seasons you want. So I really hope that they stick to the original writing.
Yeah, and I mean, HBO Max, they're making the best shows right now. They really are. Netflix has some solid ones, but I think HBO in general, between House of the Dragon, The Last of Us, they are just knocking out the big
Euphoria.
IPs. Yeah, but I mean the big IPs.
Oh, IPs, yeah.
So when they're taking these big IPs, the Game of Thrones IP, the video game Last of Us IP, and they're making really great television shows out of it. And I think if they can do 10 episodes, 12 episodes a season, and just put a ton of goddamn money into this, and just do a really great job casting, and just focusing on the really great filmmaking, it could be a really, really terrific show.
Yeah, it has a lot of potential. And you're right. I'm not so salty about it anymore.
I'm less salty.
Yeah.
I'm still a little salty because it's so soon.
Yeah.
But again, we just have to accept. We keep saying this. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, it's nothing.
They're just gonna keep doing this.
Yeah.
And then guess what? In 2040, they're gonna do it again.
But also, I mean, it is cool to think that Younger generations aren't Harry Potter fans really, so it'll be cool to see them, a new generation, fall in love with the stories.
I think they are, just not as much as when we were growing up, because there's like everyone.
I don't think they've read the books.
It was
really.
so hot. Maybe not.
I don't think the books have been read by many younger people.
Because it's become such a controversial IP.
And also, it's a lot of reading to do.
Yeah, but kids read.
800-page books?
Sure, man.
That's a lot.
We've read those like nothing.
Yeah, but we didn't have social media.
True, but I think kids still read.
Oh, they still read.
Yeah, they still read. If not, they watch the movies.
Didn't know you could read.
But yeah, I think the show has a lot going for it. But again, there are cons, whereas a lot of people just don't want this. We didn't ask for it. A lot of people probably won't watch it just because, but maybe they'll tune in eventually if it's good. But it is what it is.
We'll see. Whoever gets cast as the trio, they're gonna be
so famous,
very famous.
I still don't get the Marauders is a no-brainer for a show.
Yeah.
That disappoints me. That's what they should have done.
Yeah. Oh well.
But this is easier. They don't have to make stuff up.
Yeah. It's already written for them. It's already written.
It should be. It should write itself, man.
Yeah.
It really should. But I think there's a lot of potential here for a great show, and I hope we can get it by 2025. That would be sick.
I would say, if they've announced it and they're going to start putting together a team, I think 2025 is definitely a possibility.
And man, they gotta get cracking soon. They gotta figure out a game plan for every season, because they're gonna do 7 seasons starting in 2 years probably. That's a lot of planning. So I'm sure they're working their butts off right now, just figuring out the stories for each season.
I hope it turns out well.
Hey, Warner Brothers, let us know. Let us know, guys.
We're you guys.
We know quite a bit about Harry Potter.
We had some great ideas in this episode.
I know, we did have great ideas. They're probably gonna listen and be like, these guys. That's good. That's a good idea. Write that down.
We'll see.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning into our episode on the Harry Potter remake TV series going to HBO Max, hopefully in the next couple of years. Hopefully this episode made you accept the news a little better if you weren't very excited about it, because talking through it again, I'm on board.
There's a lot of upside.
I'm on board.
There's a lot of upside.
I wasn't on board for Indy 5 at first, but I got on board. I wasn't on board for this immediately. There's some other things that I'm like, but then, F it. What am I going to do?
What are you going to do, man?
Sign me up.
Yeah, you're not running the studio.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Alora.
At least also, they get to cast a good composer.
Oh,
They got to get a good composer.
And I wonder, do they try to mimic the theme that
Yes.
John Williams came up with, or come up with something new?
You gotta throw that theme in there.
You gotta keep the theme.
You gotta throw it in there sometime.
I don't care.
You gotta sprinkle it in.
If I was running the show, I'd be like, give me as much of the Harry Potter theme as possible.
Yeah.
As much of it as possible.
It's the nostalgia. The Harry Potter, the Hedwig's theme is probably, it could be the greatest theme written for a film.
I think it's up there.
Yeah.
I think it's top 5 all time.
How do you not?
Yeah, it's between that and Stuart Little, honestly.
Peak cinema.
Oh, man. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Become a patron today at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Every single patron gets access to a weekly bonus episode of the show, as well as the weekly chat, which exclusively moved to Patreon last month. All new weekly chat episodes only post there, so patrons all get to access it. We have a $2, which is the minimum sign-up fee, $5, $10, $25, and $100 tier patronage accounts that you can sign up for. That $10 tier gets you access to our Discord. We built an incredible community on there. There's over 120 people on there. We're always chatting. We have our watch parties on there a couple times a month. Super fun. As well as that $25 tier gets you access to a custom episode. You pick the topic, and we'll do a whole episode just for you on that topic. And then going up to that $100 tier, you also get an EP executive producer shout out at the end of main episodes. You get a private watch party, and after 3 months in that tier, you can come on the show for a fun guest segment where we toss you in at the intermission, and then we chat about whatever the topic is. All these perks also all these tiers come with other perks as well. Some of them come with free merchandise, free stickers. We're always trying to bring new content and awesome perks to our patrons. We appreciate you all so much. You keep the lights on for the show. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
This episode was executive produced by our chosen one patrons, Cody Moen, Andrew Hagan, Becca Keene, Benjamin Cook, Calvin Murphy Griggs, Nicholas Martin, Darian Singleton, Tyler McFly, Andrew Hagan. Our Chosen One patrons are our biggest supporters. Thank you so much.
Raiders of the Lost podcast is a mirror image production. Sound mixing done by Jacob Kossler. Opening music by Chase Jackson.